You are not weak because you lack strength. You are weak because you give your power away with every word you speak. Right now, in this moment, there are 7 words destroying your authority, eroding your respect, and marking you as someone to be overlooked, dismissed, and forgotten. Most men believe respect comes from achievement, from status, from what they own or who they know. They're wrong. Dead wrong. Respect is not earned through accumulation. It's commanded through subtraction, through what you refuse to say, through the words you delete from your vocabulary forever. The ancient Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius, while commanding the entire Roman Empire, wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Q asciu is. But here's what he didn't need to write, because it was so obvious to him. Your words are the paint that colors how the world sees your soul. And most of you are painting yourselves in the colors of weakness. Today, I'm going to reveal the 7 words that instantly mark you as low value in any room you enter. More importantly, I'm going to show you what the Stoic masters say instead, the linguistic armor that transforms you from beggar to king in the hierarchy of respect. This is not self-help. This is philosophical warfare. And your weapon is silence where others spill weakness. The architecture of linguistic power. Before we dive into these 7 deadly words, you need to understand something fundamental. Something most people will live their entire lives without grasping. There are 2 types of men in this world. I call them the leaking vessels and the sealed fortresses. The leaking vessel spills his power through every conversation. He hemorrhages authority through verbal bleeding. Every word is a drop of respect leaving his body, pooling at the feet of those around him. He speaks to fill silence. He explains to seek approval. He qualifies to avoid judgment. And with each word, he becomes smaller, weaker, more transparent in his desperation. The sealed fortress speaks only when necessary. His words carry weight because they are rare. When he opens his mouth, rooms go quiet, not because he demands it, but because scarcity creates value. He has mastered what I call verbal economy, the Stoic principle that your words are currency, and the more you spend, the poorer you become. Epictetus, born a slave who became one of Rome's greatest philosophers, understood this better than anyone. He said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." But here's the deeper truth Epictetus was pointing to. It's not just about the ratio of listening to speaking. It's about recognizing that every unnecessary word you utter is a chain you forge around your own neck. Word number 1, actually. The first word that marks you as weak, that instantly signals your lower status in any hierarchy, is actually. Listen to how it sounds. Actually, I think we should consider another approach. Actually, that's not quite right. Actually, I was there first. Do you hear it? That desperate need to correct, to prove you're right, to show you know better? The word actually is verbal insecurity manifested. It's the sound of a man so threatened by being wrong, so desperate to display his knowledge, that he cannot let a single imprecision pass without correction. The average man uses actually as a crutch for his ego. He believes that by correcting others, he elevates himself. The Stoic knows that true power comes from allowing others their errors. Marcus Aurelius commanded legions, yet he wrote, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does." Here's what the weak don't understand. When you say, actually, you're not displaying intelligence. You're displaying insecurity. You're announcing to the room, I am so fragile that I cannot bear for you to be wrong without correcting you. Your error threatens my identity. Imagine 2 men in a business meeting. The first hears a colleague make a minor factual error about last quarter's numbers. He immediately interjects, actually, it was 3.2%, not 3.5%. The room pauses, eyes roll subtly. His correction changes nothing material, but he's marked himself as petty, insecure, someone who values being right over being respected. The second man notices the same error. He remains silent. Later, if the error matters to the decision at hand, he might say, let me share the numbers I have. They might add to our discussion. No correction, no ego, just value. The first man is forgotten before the meeting ends. The second man is remembered, consulted, promoted. This is the power of verbal restraint. Replace actually with silence, or when you must speak, use I see it differently or here's another perspective. Never correct to feed your ego. Only speak to add value. Word number 2, honestly. The second word is a confession disguised as emphasis. Honestly. Honestly, I didn't mean to. I'm honestly not sure if. Honestly speaking, I think every time you say honestly, you're confessing that dishonesty is your default state. Think about it. Why would you need to announce your honesty unless its presence was unusual? The man who says honestly is telling the world, most of the time, I'm not. Seneca wrote, every new thing excites the mind, but a mind that seeks truth turns from the new and seeks the old truths. The old truth here is simple. Honest men don't announce their honesty. They embody it. Their word is their bond, not because they say so, but because their actions prove it consistently over time. Picture a man trying to sell you something. He leans forward and says, honestly, this is the best deal you'll get. Your guard goes up immediately. Why? Because truth doesn't need a herald. It stands on its own merit. The moment someone feels compelled to announce their honesty, you instinctively doubt it. The sealed fortress never says honestly because every word he speaks carries the weight of truth. He has built what I call assumed integrity, a reputation so solid that his honesty is never in question. When he speaks, people listen, not because he claims to be honest, but because he has never given them reason to doubt. Delete honestly from your vocabulary today. Replace it with nothing. Let your words stand on their own merit. If you must emphasize, use facts, not claims about your character. Your honesty should be so consistent, so assumed, that announcing it would be like announcing that you're breathing. Word number 3, just. The third word is the minimizer of the weak, just. I just wanted to check. I just thought maybe. I'm just saying. The word just is an apology for existing. It's asking permission to take up space. It's the verbal equivalent of slouching, making yourself smaller to avoid threatening others. And here's the brutal truth. The moment you minimize yourself, others will minimize you too. You're teaching them how to treat you with every just you utter. Bruce Lee, who studied Stoicism alongside martial arts, said, showing off is the fool's idea of glory. But here's what most miss. Minimizing yourself is showing off in reverse. It's the fool's idea of humility. True humility doesn't announce itself through diminutive language. It demonstrates itself through confident action without arrogance. The leaking vessel says, I just wanted to share an idea that might help. The sealed fortress says, I have an idea that will solve this problem. Feel the difference? One is begging for permission. The other is offering value. One is hoping not to offend. The other is confident in his contribution. Here's what happens in the neural pathways of anyone listening when you say just. Their brain categorizes what follows as unimportant. You've literally programmed them to pay less attention. You've marked your own words as dismissible. This is why meetings full of just become meetings full of nothing. Everyone is so busy minimizing themselves that no real decisions get made. There's a phenomenon I call linguistic gravity. Your words either pull people in or push them away. Just as anti-gravity. It makes your presence lighter, less substantial, easier to ignore. Remove just completely. State your business directly. Instead of, I just wanted to ask, say, I need to ask. Instead of just checking in, say, I'm checking on our progress. Own your space. Own your words. Own your right to speak without apology. Word number 4, sorry. The fourth word has become a plague among modern men. Sorry. Sorry to bother you. Sorry, but I disagree. Sorry for the long email. You're not sorry. You're scared. Scared of conflict. Scared of judgment. Scared of existing too loudly in someone else's awareness. And every time you apologize for something that needs no apology, you're training others to see you as someone who should be sorry for existing. Marcus Aurelius faced plagues, wars, betrayal from his own son, yet in his private journal we find no unnecessary apologies. He wrote, confine yourself to the present. The present doesn't require apologies for actions not yet taken or words not yet spoken. Here's the psychology most don't grasp. When you apologize unnecessarily, you're forcing others to comfort you. You're making them spend emotional energy absolving you of guilt you shouldn't feel. This is not politeness. It's emotional manipulation disguised as courtesy. You're the man who bleeds on others and then apologizes for staining their clothes while continuing to bleed. The foolish man enters his boss's office. Sorry to interrupt, but do you have a minute? The wise man enters. I need 5 minutes of your time. Is now good? The first man has already positioned himself as an interruption, a bother, someone taking something he shouldn't. The second man presents himself as someone with value to offer, respecting time but not apologizing for needing it. Reserve apologies for actual transgressions. When you've caused harm, when you've broken trust, when you've failed a commitment. The rarity of your apologies will make them powerful when truly needed. A man who apologizes for everything is believed about nothing. A man who rarely apologizes is taken seriously when he does. Word number 5. Hopefully. The fifth word reveals you as someone who has surrendered control. Hopefully. Hopefully, this will work out. Hopefully, they'll approve it. Hopefully, I'll get the promotion. Hope is not a strategy. It's what remains when you've abandoned agency. The Stoics had a name for this surrender. They called it the passion of desire for what is not up to us. Epictetus taught the fundamental principle. Some things are within our power, while others are not. Frisiu e and dash. The word hopefully announces you've forgotten which is which. Viktor Frankl, surviving the Nazi concentration camps, discovered what the Stoics knew centuries before. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. The word hopefully fills that space with weakness instead of choice. Watch the difference in these two men. The first says, hopefully the client will sign the contract. The second says, I've presented our strongest case. The decision is now theirs. The first man has given his power to chance. The second man has done his work and accepted the boundary between his control and the client's. He's not hoping, he's prepared and at peace with any outcome. This is what I call outcome independence, not indifference, but the recognition that your worth isn't determined by results outside your control. The man who says hopefully has tied his identity to external validation. He's a ship without an anchor, blown by whatever wind the world provides. Replace hopefully with statements of action or acceptance. Instead of hopefully this works, say, I've done everything possible to make this work. Instead of hopefully she'll say yes, say, I'll ask clearly and accept her decision. You're not removing optimism, you're removing dependency. Word number 6, kind of. The sixth word marks you as a man without conviction. Kind of. I kind of think we should. It's kind of important. I'm kind of interested. If you're kind of anything, you're nothing. This phrase is the verbal equivalent of standing in a doorway, neither in nor out, neither committed nor withdrawn. It's the language of the eternally uncertain, the perpetually hedging, the man so afraid of being wrong that he refuses to be anything at all. Seneca wrote to his friend Lucilius, "The willing, destiny guides them. The unwilling, destiny drags them." The man who speaks in kind of is neither willing nor unwilling. He's the third category Seneca didn't mention because it didn't exist in Rome, the undecided who destiny simply ignores. Picture two men in a relationship conversation. The first, I kind of feel like we need to talk about our future. The second, we need to discuss our future. When works for you? Which man commands respect? Which man gets his needs met? The first is so afraid of seeming demanding that he defeats himself before the conversation begins. The second knows what he needs and asks for it directly. The leaking vessel uses kind of as armor against judgment. If he's only kind of committed, he can only kind of fail. But here's what he doesn't realize. He can also only kind of succeed, kind of be respected, kind of live. Strike kind of from your speech entirely. Take a position, have an opinion. Be wrong sometimes rather than vague always. Say, I think, or I believe, or in my experience. Own your perspective fully. The man who stands for something clearly might face opposition. The man who kind of stands for something faces invisibility. Word number 7, whatever. The seventh and final word is the ultimate abdication of power. Whatever. Whatever you think is best. Whatever works for you. Whatever happens, happens. This is not flexibility. This is not stoic acceptance. This is the white flag of a defeated mind. Whatever is the sound of a man who has confused indifference with wisdom, apathy with philosophy, giving up with letting go. The Stoics spoke of amor fati, love of fate, but this is not whatever. Marcus Aurelius didn't say whatever when Rome was attacked. He said, what stands in the way becomes the way. He accepted what he couldn't control while fiercely engaging with what he could. Here's the distinction most miss. Acceptance is active. Whatever is passive. Acceptance says, I've considered the options, made my choice, and I'm at peace with the outcome. Whatever says, I refuse to engage because engagement requires effort and risk. Two friends are deciding where to eat. The foolish man, whatever you want is fine. The wise man, you choose the place, I'll choose next time. The first man thinks he's being agreeable. He's actually being burdensome. He's forcing others to make all decisions, carry all responsibility, provide all direction. The second man delegates this specific decision while maintaining his agency for the future. The word whatever is a cancer that spreads from small decisions to life philosophy. The man who says whatever to dinner becomes the man who says whatever to his career, his relationships, his purpose. He becomes what I call a drift soul, moved by currents he neither chose nor resists. Eliminate whatever entirely. When you truly don't have a preference, say so directly. I don't have a preference on this. When you're accepting an outcome, say, I accept that decision. When you're delegating, say, your call on this one. Be precise in your language, because precision in language creates precision in thought, and precision in thought creates precision in life. The transformation protocol. These 7 words aren't just vocabulary. They're symptoms. Symptoms of a disease that infects most modern men, the disease of seeking external validation through self-diminishment. Every actually, every sorry, every whatever is a signal flare announcing, I am less than you. Please approve of me. Please don't hurt me. Please notice me while I make myself small. But here's what changes when you eliminate these words. It's not just your speech that transforms. It's your entire energetic signature. You stop being the man who enters rooms apologizing for his presence. You become the man whose presence is a gift to any room he enters. Think of your words as architects and your reality as the building they construct. Every just builds a smaller room. Every hopefully builds a weaker foundation. Every whatever refuses to build at all. But when you speak with clarity, conviction, and purpose, you build a fortress of respect that no external force can breach. The ancient Stoics understood something we've forgotten in our age of endless communication. Silence is not empty. It's full. Full of power. Full of possibility. Full of the respect that comes from a man who doesn't need to fill every void with sound. The path forward. Imagine yourself 6 months from now. You've eliminated these 7 words completely. You walk into a meeting and instead of, sorry I'm late, I just got stuck in traffic, hopefully we can still cover everything, you say, traffic delayed me. Let's make the most of our time. Feel the difference in your spine. Feel the difference in how others perceive you. You're no longer the man asking for permission to exist. You're the man whose existence is a fact, whose words are investments, whose silence is strength. But this transformation doesn't happen through motivation. It happens through implementation. Starting today, not tomorrow, not next week, today, you must become what I call a word warrior. Siwan ni na phon. Every conversation is a battlefield where you either give away power or accumulate it. Every sentence is a choice between the man you were and the man you're becoming. Here's your protocol. For the next 7 days, carry a small notebook. Every time you catch yourself about to say one of these 7 words, make a mark. Don't judge yourself. Don't apologize for the mistake. Simply notice mark and choose different words. By day 7, you'll see the marks decrease. By day 30, these words will feel foreign to your tongue. By day 90, you'll wonder how you ever spoke them at all. The weak man reads this and says, hopefully, I can kind of remember to actually do this. Sorry if I forget. I'll just do whatever I can. The strong man reads this and says, I commit to this change. Starting now,